I'm so excited to be able to see you today. Are you having fun at home still? Well, today I have a super fun story about my friend named Joseph. Do you know where this story comes from? I'll give you a hint. It's from this book. Do you know what it is? The Bible. You are so correct. And our story today about Joseph comes from the first part of the Bible. Do you remember what that's called? It's called the Old Testament. And this is from the very, very first book of the Bible. Do you know what that is? Genesis. So we'll be in Genesis chapter 37. The big 3-7 is where we'll find the story about Joseph. And so Joseph, he was one of 11 brothers, so 12 brothers in total. And he had a dad named Jacob. And Jacob loved Joseph so much that he gave him a very special coat, a coat of many colors. Now you see, in this one, he only has green and brown, but imagine him wearing a coat that has red on it, maybe some purple, some blue added to it. And this is what Jacob gave to Joseph to show how much he loved him. Now, Joseph's brothers were angry with him. Can you show me your angry face? Ooh, that was scary. I don't want to see that. So Joseph's brothers were very angry about the coat that he gave him, but also because he had dreams. In one of Joseph's dreams, there was bundles of grain, and they bowed down to him. And so when he told his brothers, ooh, that did not make them happy. That made them very angry. Can I see your angry face again? Ooh, still scary. But you know what? Joseph had a second dream. That dream was where the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowed down to him. Oh, that did not make his brothers any more happy with him. And so they hated him. And one day they were out tending the sheep, and Joseph's dad, named Jacob, sent him out to go check on them. Maybe it was to bring them food and supplies, but maybe it was just to go see how they were doing. And when he was walking over to them, his brothers, they saw him in the distance, and they're like, here comes that dreamer. And they mocked him, and they made fun of him. And they thought, we should kill them. They hated him that much. But Reuben, one of his brothers, said, no, he's our brother. We can't do that. So instead, when he got there, they found a well, and it was not filled with water, completely empty, and they dropped him in there. And they left him there, and they went and got lunch. But while they were eating lunch, they saw some merchants out in the distance. And merchants are people who bring stuff of what they make to sell it to others. And so they are like, we can sell our brother to the merchants. And so they got their brother out of the well. They took his coat from him, and they sold him to the merchants for 20 pieces of silver. But you know what the brothers did after that? They took his coat and they ripped it to shreds, and they dipped it in goat's blood. And then they took it to their dad, and they said, look at this. Is this your son's coat? And Jacob was sad. Can you see your sad faces? He was sad because it was his son's coat, and he thought that his son had died. But even though it seemed like a really sad day, God was in control, and he used it for good. So everything that Joseph did, God blessed, and he did it amazing job in everything. So when Joseph made it to Egypt, he was sold to another man. This man's name was Potiphar. And he was one of the king or Pharaoh's people, and he was a very important person. And And Potiphar put him in charge of his house. But you know what happened? One day, Potiphar's wife lied about something that Joseph didn't do. Do you know that lying is a sin? Do you remember what sin is? Sin is anything that you think, say, or do that breaks God's laws and separates us from him. It's not a good thing to do, but she did it. And because she lied and sinned, Joseph was put into jail because of it. Seems like another sad day. But you know what? God was in control. And while he was in jail, there was 2 other people with him who had both worked for the king, and they both had dreams. God gave him the ability to understand what it meant and to tell them what it meant. And so one of them meant that he was going to die, and the other one would become a cupbearer for the king. And so when the dreams became true and the man went to go work for the king as the cupbearer, Joseph said, don't forget about me. Tell the king about me. Maybe then he would be set free. But the cupbearer forgot about him. It was a sad day. But Joseph didn't give up. He still continued to pray to God and sing praises to him. He still worshiped God, even though he was in jail for 2 more years. After 2 years, Pharaoh had a dream. And he had 2 dreams. The first dream was there were 7 healthy cows. They were good. They looked ready to be eaten. And then there were 7 sick cows. They were all skinny. They looked like they needed to eat. And then you know what happened? The 7 sick cows ate the 7 healthy cows. Ugh, it shook the Pharaoh awake and he was afraid. But he calmed down. Maybe he took a deep breath or 2, and then he fell back asleep. And when he woke up the second time, it was because he had another dream. And it was there were 7 healthy crops and 7 bad crops. And you know what the 7 bad crops did to the healthy crops? They ate them. So when he was startled awake, he said, I need somebody here to help me interpret these dreams. And so the cupbearer, the one who worked for the king, said, I remember a guy when I was in jail who was able to tell me what my dreams meant. And so he went and they got Joseph out of jail and they took him to the king. And because God gave him the ability to understand the dreams, Joseph was able to help many people to not go hungry, because the dream meant that there would be 7 years of good crops and good food and everything, and they'll have plenty they will be overflowing with. So they'll take some and they'll put it aside. But then there will be 7 years where there will be nothing. And so because Pharaoh saw that God had blessed Joseph, he put Joseph in charge of that to see how much they need to store. And you know what? When the 7 bad years came where there was no food, people from all around came to help to get food, because God was in control and placed Joseph where he needed to be. So even in the days that feel like it's a sad day, or days where we're angry, God is still in control and we can trust him with everything. So I have 3 questions for you. My first one is, what did Joseph's dad, Jacob, give to him to show his love? Do you remember? It was the coat of many colors. My second question is, what special gift did God give to Joseph? Has something to do with sleeping. He was able to understand dreams. You're right. And my third question is, why don't we have to grumble and complain or be scared about anything? It's because God is always in control. From the little things in our life to the great big things, we can trust in him no matter what. So my friends, if you want to continue to tell others about the story, we have a few things for you. If you ask your parents to pretty please print something off, they can print off this coat for you, and you can either put tissue paper on it or you can put construction paper on it. Maybe you can color it. But if you don't have a printer, feel free to draw your own coat, and you can color it and do everything that you need. And we also have a coloring page, and it says, Joseph's brothers sell him. So this is another way you can retell the story. My friends, we are super sad that we don't get to see you yet, but we can't wait till we see you again. We hope you have a good week. Thanks, guys.